We have to remember people that are going through difficult times. We have to take time out of our day of celebration and remember them and send them good thoughts and good energies. We can still celebrate, yeah, but we need to take time to pray for these people who are hurting. Yeah, that's what we need to do. So anyway, I'm going to uh, what am I gonna do? Kind of went blank here for a couple seconds. Shit. Anyway, we're talking about Christmas here, and there's a story I really like to tell, and it's a story that my father told me. And my father's he really is a funny guy. He really has a good sense of humor. Yeah, and he was telling me the story. This happened on Rosebud Sioux Reservation. Now, let me explain. Let me set it up first, though. Yeah, typical early days Christmas. Now, this is before I was born. Okay, I'm talking. This is like 1900s here, early 1900s. Um, it would be an all-day event. Usually, at every Indian community, there was a community building, and sometimes that community building was the church. Yeah. So they would, all the people, living around the area would show up there, bring their family, and they might butcher a cow or something, and the men folks would be spending the early morning doing this. Yeah, they're going to um, cut the pieces of meat up, and they're going to make several soups. There's a delicacy soup called chanija. Traditionally, this was made out of buffalo intestines. Yeah, but see, we didn't have buffalo at the beginning of the reservation, so we had to use the next best thing, which was cows. Yeah, so as they butcher the cow and they take off the insides and they really clean it out. Yeah, they take a long time to clean it out. They soak it and then they boil it all day. I think a couple hours before they are going to serve it, they put corn in, wild turnips. They call it timsila. Maybe some onions and maybe some potatoes. Yeah, they put that in there. When this is ready, oh, I grew up on this. Yeah, this is delicious. This is probably the best tasting soup ever. Yeah, chanija, and just describing that, I am getting hungry for it. It really stinks, but it tastes great. Yeah. That's fantastic. But you have to grow up on that, yeah? Because like Lakota kids today, see they don't know this thing. They just they smell it and they go, "Ooh, gee, get away." And if they take a try when they're teenagers, they can't handle it. Yeah, it's like gross. They spit it out. See, you have to grow up with it. Yeah, but there's rare exceptions. And some people try it for the first time as adults and they just totally fall in love with it. so so they do that, and of course beef soup. Meanwhile, the men are doing that. The women folks are inside the building and they're making other foods. Yeah, like mashed potatoes, potato salads, all kinds of other things, pies and cakes and stuff like that. And meanwhile, the kids, this is out in the country, yeah. So the usually the kids go to a hill nearby and they make makeshift sleds with whatever they can, and spend the day sliding down and stuff like that. And then as evening comes, they go inside the building. All these old buildings had old wooden stoves, yeah, that you what do you call it? You heat with wood, and so they would go in and warm up, and then the parents would have them play indoor kind of games. And then evening time comes, then they take small plates of food outside and they go to the cemetery that's nearby, and then they feed the souls. And after that, they go back inside the building and they sing Christmas carols, and then they usually the community during the year has saved up money. So what they do is they got bags of peanuts and this hard candy, yeah, and they get apples and oranges, and they put these inside paper sacks, and they hand that out to the kids. Yeah, it was really a joyful thing. This was the early days. There was no Santa yet, not yet. Yeah, it's just that's gonna come a little bit later. Um, and so it was a time for the community to get together, work together, play together, pray together, sing together, and feast together. This is really in line with Lakota community style singing. Yeah. And after at you sometime in the middle of the night they break it up and everybody goes home, yeah, and their team and wagon and stuff like that. That's how it was, the early days. Now, as time goes on, maybe 20, 30 years, now the introduction of Santa Claus comes in, and from yesterday's story, you learn about this man called Wazia, okay, and there's stories that I talked about yesterday that explain how that got transformed into the Lakota version of Santa Claus, okay. Traditionally, we don't have Santa Claus, but I explained it yesterday, yeah, how the Christians transformed certain elements from some stories and they mutated it, tainted it, so that it develops into this Santa Claus like kind of figure. Yeah, and like I said, please, please, please listen to yesterday's show if you haven't, because it gives the background, yeah, of how this came to be. So now he would come in and bring. He would have a bag full of candies, just like I said before, hard candy, peanuts, um, apple, oranges, and things like that. Hard chocolate. So it's like a dome shaped kind of. They only have this in Christmas time. It's really thick. Um, it has like some kind of a hard cream on the inside. I don't even know what they call them, but man, they're really not that tasty. Yeah. But see, when you're a little kid on the res and you never get, we don't really have access to candy all the time. So to see all these colorful hard candies and these chocolate kind of things is so wonderful. Yeah, that was our first introduction to chocolate, you could say. And it was horrible. But see, when it's your first time, it's wonderful. Yeah, but as you grow up and get older, move to Europe and teach in Switzerland and eat real chocolate, then you know. No, I'm not bragging. I'm just being funny. Yeah. And yes, I really did teach in Switzerland. Yeah, I really did. That's the truth. Anyway, so this is, usually the Santa Claus would do something funny. Yeah, he's always a funny guy, and he comes in like he might be kissing the women, things like that, and he's gonna tell some jokes, and yeah, like he might say something like, the tires on his reindeer went flat, so he had to walk the rest of the way. Just things that don't even make sense. But when you hear this in Lakota as a little kid, it's just hilarious. Yeah. And so that's how that was. Yeah. And then, like I said, it was feasting all day. They had a dinner, and then in the evening there was a supper too, and people stopped going to the cemeteries to feed the souls. Instead, they would do that at home. Yeah. Um, I mean, some communities still did that, but a lot of them they stopped doing that, and instead they would just do that at home. So, but it still was a community kind of feast, yeah. And people would come, and then people started to, buy presents. And what families would do is they would bring their presents and put it to the church, yeah, to the community Christmas. And usually there was an agreement that you say from Santa Claus, yeah, and then you put your kid's name on the what do you call it, the tag. So when Santa Claus comes, he'll go to the tree, then he'll grab a present, and he'll say, he'll call out the person's name. Yeah, so hey, kids are standing there all excited and stuff like that. And usually, they always get, the community will do fundraising throughout the year, and part of that fundraising, they buy extra toys for children who may be with families that are visiting. Yeah, because normally, in some time in the fall, they go around house to house and they get the names of every kid living there, yeah, in the community, so that way they know how many toys to buy, for the community, because the community will buy toys for the kids in addition to families buying toys for their own kids. Now this way, every kid gets something. Nobody's left out. Yeah. And then they'll ask their families, "Are you going to have any relatives coming in? And how many kids do they have?" So they get a rough idea of how this is going to go. Yeah, so they always buy extra stuff so that if there are kids there that they didn't, that are guests, then they're going to get something. Yeah, everybody's going to get fed. There's always more than enough food. There's always so much food that people have they get to take home leftovers. It's always nice. Yeah, you can eat later again. And people started eating turkeys and stuffing, and now they're eating more of an American style diet. Yeah, real cranberries and things like that. Um, and then yeah, Santa Claus comes and does these funny things and tells these funny stories. And like I said, you go to the Christmas tree and grab a present, shout out a person's name. And sometimes they have volunteers, yeah, the adults. So it's just exciting because there's like 4 or 5 grown men that are respected men in the community. They're all grabbing presents and they're holding it up, and they say the names. So you really have to listen in. So they're making it exciting for the kids. Yeah. So you really have to tune your ears to make sure they don't forget. That you hear your name. Yeah. And people are like, little kids run up there and hug their present and hug Santa Claus and come back to where they're sitting and open their presents, and everybody's like, "Wow, look at what I got!" Gee, and then other kids will go, "Wow!" See, people were happy for each other in those days. Yeah, people were happy for each other. That's was really community style thinking. Yeah, and that's how it was for me when I was a little kid. Yeah, it was like that. Anyway, my dad was a young man. He was probably in his 20s, and he was telling the story. And it's in Rose Parmelee, yeah, on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation. This community called Parmelee, South Dakota. He said that it was going the same way like what I just described. Yeah, the men folks they were watching the soup outside, and the women folks were making food, and kids were playing all over the place and stuff like that. And then early evening was coming, so everybody was getting, they already had their meal, and they were getting ready for Santa Claus. And usually, a lot of communities they have a Christmas program. They do that nativity thing. Yeah, we did that too. Where the Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus, and 3 wise men, 3 shepherds, and the sheep, and the geese, or whatever. Yeah, the postman, or whatever's in the nativity scene. We always did that, yeah, as well. See, reservations were becoming Christian, as I said, yeah, as I said earlier. So anyway, um, then after that, Santa Claus comes in and does his thing, like I explained. Yeah, so Santa Claus came into the church in Parmalee, South Dakota, Catholic church. He came in. He was doing his funny thing, and he in this, a lot of them, they wear masks because you don't know who they are. Yeah, and of course the little kids, they can't know either. Yeah, so a lot of these guys, they wore masks, the Santa Claus masks, along with the whole getup. Yeah, the red suit and the beard and all that kind of thing. So this Santa Claus was coming in here. Like I said, a lot of times they really do silly things. Yeah, they kiss, they might kiss their mother-in-law or something. Yeah, it really gets funny. And here, Santa Claus saw his the man who's playing Santa Claus, I should say. He saw his wife, and there was another man that was trying to flirt with her. Yeah, so she was she was laughing, and this at this guy. Yeah, she was laughing, and then she, oh, that kind of thing. And so he didn't like it, yeah, that his wife was seemed to be flirting back. In his Santa Claus costume, he went over there and he really smacked that guy. So to everybody, it looked like Santa Claus went over there and hit this guy. So this guy got up and he hit Santa back in the stomach, so Santa fell on the floor. And at first, people thought it was an act, yeah, because people do things like this just to be funny. Here, Santa Claus got up and he grabbed the chair and he hit it over the head on the other guy. So the guy fell on the floor and he was kind of knocked out. Yeah, so Santa Claus got on top of that guy and was really pounding. Yeah, and while he was hitting this guy, his mask moved to the side of his face. Yeah, so, so it looked like the Santa Claus was looking at the people and really smiling while he was beating the crap out of this guy. He gave this guy a bloody nose. This blood was starting to go all over the floor, and there the kids were screaming, and they called the cops. So the police showed up, and they had to subdue Santa Claus. Yeah, they had to pin him to the ground. They put handcuffs on him, and he still had that mask to the side of his face, just smiling. So they put him in the back of the cop car. So it looked like he was looking out the side, yeah, looking like he was looking out the window, smiling at everybody. Took Santa Claus to jail, yeah. Shit, that's probably one of the craziest. That has to be one of the craziest Christmas stories I ever heard, yeah. Shit, this, the, my dad really has funny memories like that. Yeah? He said the the men were just laughing because it looked just funny. Yeah, Santa, looked like Santa Claus was looking to the people. He was really smiling. At the same time, he was beating the crap out of this guy that was flirting with his wife, and then he got arrested. Yeah. They took Santa Claus away in the travel cop car. He's looking out the window, really smiling. Didn't even bother to take that mask off. Yeah, he just left it like that. Oh shit. Oh man, it's too crazy. Funny things happen like that. That- that's a reservation Santa Claus. Yeah? Christmas reservation style. Yeah? Santa Claus got thrown in jail. Oh shit. Oh man, that's probably the year nobody forgets. Yeah, the guy went down in history. I wonder who. My dad told me his name, but see, I'm not from Rosebud, so I mean, I am from. I'm half of me is from there, but I grew up on Cheyenne River, as I said earlier. So I forgot the name. But, oh man, my dad really made me laugh with that one. Oh shit. Oh gosh.